It's time for Friday Coffee with your mortgage man, Eric, and here we go. Today, we're going to talk about the HELOC. Let's talk about locks, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that locks may be. Let's talk about locks and the Case-Shiller. It's a thriller, baby. How they segue together. Let's get into it. The HELOC, or the home equity line of credit, or for short, line of credit, the LOC. So, as everybody's equity is starting to increase in their home, we're getting a lot of phone calls. Hey, I want to take out a line of credit. I want to take out a HELOC. I think people really just like to say that word, a HELOC. It's the HELOC. We're going into the formidable pond of mortgage lending to get the HELOC. Oh. So, home equity line of credit. Here's why I don't suggest that to be your number one choice of stripping the equity from your home to pay off bills or do some repairs or upgrades to your home. Here's why. We're going to probably bullet point 5, 6 things of why HELOC is bad. And I get asked this question quite often. I got asked this question this morning, which triggered my idea for the topic of the show. Here we go. So, a HELOC, or a LOC, will generally report to the credit bureaus on your credit report as a revolving line of credit. What does that mean? Right? We'll tell people, what does that mean? They don't know what that means. What that means is it's reporting to your credit report like a credit card does. So, a credit card, if you think about this, if you open up a credit card today for $10,000, $20,000, and you go out today and put $20,000 on that credit card, what do you think happens? Just ponder on that for a split second. What do you think happens? Your credit scores are going to drop right through the floor. And that's what happens with a line of credit. Most people, they want to go get a line of credit because they want to put a new kitchen in, right? It's going to cost $23,000, $48,000, whatever. And, we want a $50,000 line of credit, and they go out and they take $48,000 out. What do you think is going to happen on day one? Your credit scores are dropping, and I don't mean by 5 points, probably 50, 60, 70 points your credit score is going to drop. Look, the banks, the credit unions that are selling you these products aren't going to tell you that. Why? Because they're just not educated enough or experienced enough. I talked about that, I believe, in my previous episode of Friday Coffee with your mortgage man, Eric. There's difference between the banks and local lenders. And, Tag, the 21-year-old kid named Tag with a purple tie and a pink shirt, he just isn't going to tell you that at the credit union. This ain't going to happen. So, moving on. Another reason why you shouldn't take out a line of credit generally is because it has a 5-year draw and a 10-year repay. Some of them, we got a 10-year draw. Okay, great. Great, you're a little better. But what does that mean, right? We tell a consumer what that means, and they really don't know what that means. What does that period mean? 5-year draw. That means I give you this line of credit. For 5 years, you can use it as a checking account. You can write checks against it and pay, down payment for a vehicle, which I don't advise doing. But people do it, and they'll buy a boat and an RV and a jet ski because they think it's free money. It's really crazy what some people do with lines of credit. You got to repay that, man. So for 5 years or 10 years, you can do that. At the end of that 5-year or 10-year period, depending on the bank that you get the home equity line of credit through, it's frozen. No more draws. It's done. You're not drawing off of that. What happens at that point? Well, it's a 5-year draw, 10-year repay. That means for the next 5 years, you can repay it. What does that mean? They set you up with an interest-only payment. You only have to make an interest-only payment. Now, I find this insane. I mean, when people ask about, are you doing those interest-only loans on mortgages nowadays, those exotic loans? No, we're not. I mean, maybe less than 0.1% of mortgages in the non-conforming realm are being done interest-only, but it's just something that doesn't happen anymore. But let's push a HELOC that, guess what, has an interest-only option for you to do, and it's a second lien position on your home. Don't you find the irony in that? then it's okay for that, but not okay for that. And I just don't think the banks are educating the consumer enough when they take out the HELOC. Now, 5-year draw, 10-year repay, or a 10-year draw, 10-year repay. At the end of the repay period, what happens? What happens? You have 20 years left, because it's, 30-year loan, right? You have 20 years left, and at the end of the 10-year repay, they take the balance, whatever the balance, and it's typically the same as what you drew. If it's a $50,000 line of credit, your balance is probably $50,000. That's what most people do, unfortunately. So they'll take $50,000 now in 20 years, and they term that now, what they call it, term it, put it into a 20-year amortized loan. So your payment, your interest-only payment of whatever it was, $114 a month, now goes to $480 a month, like that. A little bit of payment shock is what we call it in the industry. And that can be the start of the end, right? You all wasn't ready for that. I can't afford that. Well, it was in the hidden print when you signed on day one that this could happen. Now, here's some of the rebuttal that I get. Yeah, but my bank told me I just come in and they'll redo it for me. No worries. Yeah? You're assuming that the economy is going to be the same, the market's going to be the same, that nothing's going to change, and they'll gladly do this for you. That's you're gambling. You're gambling your credit, you're gambling your home, that the bank is going to protect you in that. Think about that. So let's get into the next thing. When you term this thing out, when you pay it off, right? There's always a $500 early termination fee. Keep that in mind. Here's a big one. It's typically based off of prime, the index prime. You've heard of prime rate, not prime rib or prime beef. It's prime rate. Today's prime rate is 3.75. You usually get a margin from the bank that's put on top of that, so your rates are probably right around 4.75 to 5.75 for a line of credit. Well, my rate's 5.75. It's amazing for a second lien. Look, if you just Google this, do me a favor, Google this, the history of prime. You'll find that in, was it 06, 07? Prime alone was 8.25. Prime alone was 8.25. That's a pretty high rate. Think about that. So you add your margin to that, give you 9.25, 10.25. Your payment's going to adjust. Adjustable rate mortgage. I can't believe people were taking those adjustable rate mortgages. That's one of the reasons why the housing collapsed. Well, now. And we're just doing HELOCs again. It's basically an adjustable rate mortgage. Here we go again, repeating the things that crashed the market to begin with in 08. Keep that in mind. It's an adjustable rate mortgage. Yeah, but my bank told me they would fix it. That's an alternative. If you get a fixed end second mortgage, that's a different product. That's not a HELOC. It's a better product. We'll get into that on the alternatives, okay? So, lastly, here's the thing that most consumers don't realize. They get a line of credit. Oh, I got a line of credit. And I ask them, so are there any liens attached to your home? Do you owe any balances? Do you owe anything on the home? And they'll often get the response, no, but we got a line of credit. I hate to tell you this, but a line of credit is a lien. It is a securitized loan. It is attached to your home. If I pull a title report, we're going to find the lien. It's attached to your home. You default on that lien, they can foreclose on your home. It is a securitized home loan. It is a lien recorded against your home. Keep that in mind. Most consumers aren't told that from the lovely banks and credit unions where they go to get their HELOCs. Now, how does this segue into the Case-Shiller? It's a thriller, baby. Well, let me show you the graph to begin with, okay? This is one of the reasons why people's equity are going up. And why, hey, Eric, I want to take $50K out, man. I want to redo my bathroom. Can I get a HELOC? Sounds cool, man. I want to get a HELOC, brother. Well, guess what? The reason why, if you take a look at this is called the Case-Shiller Index. You can Google this as well, okay? So Case-Shiller, if you take a look at everything on the top, you can see here, right? This was the housing recession or the bust. And here we are, we're bouncing back from the bust, and we're over here now, right? And you know, people are saying, oh, well, we're going to bust again. Prices are going to go down. They're going down now. Oh, my God, we're going to have another bust. We're going to have another housing implosion. I highly doubt we'll ever experience the thing that we experienced in 08, 09. Is real estate cyclical? Sure it is. Sure it is cyclical. But will we ever see this again? Now, if you look at this middle graph, this is zero or par, zero, right? Down here is negative equity growth. Up here is positive equity growth. So even though you could see that we started coming down here, it was still above the zero. It still was positive equity growth. The market just started to stabilize a little bit. And that's what we're trying to say now is that, no, we're not in a negative equity growth. We're just stabilizing a bit. So I show you this to tie into why people are wanting a HELOC because their equity has gone up, right? And look, and here's one of the reasons why people will talk themselves out of getting a home loan. This may be a topic for another show. Oh, I'm not gonna buy a home today because the market's gonna crash again soon. No, it's not. Look, and the reality about it is, people that want to buy a home will buy a home. People that don't want to buy a home will find a reason. I've been doing this for 20 years, and it just blows my mind that I will actually pre-approve somebody for, hey, you're good, Johnny Smith, you're good to go, man. You're pre-approved for $300, $350. Oh my, I don't want to afford that payment. No way, I'm ever going to afford that payment. And they're pre-approved. They could be home owners, and they will talk themselves off the edge. And I don't know why they went through the process. Maybe to appease their parents or their spouse or check a box in life or something. I don't know, but they will find a reason to not buy a home. Yeah, we're just not going to buy a home. We're going to continue to rent because, it's going to crash. It's going to crash at some point. I just, I don't want to get caught up in that. I just can't afford that payment. But you'll afford a rent payment that's $200 cheaper. And you think you're making, like I said, whole another topic for another day. So, with that said, it's Friday Coffee with your mortgage man, Eric, 602-757-2171, the formidable HELOC. We captured the formidable HELOC from the mortgage pond. Oh, sorry, the benefits, right? Or alternatives. Alternatives is either you do a cash out mortgage, a first mortgage. Well, I don't want to start my 30-year mortgage all over again, and I can respect that, totally understand that. But maybe that's your only option. The best, most wise option is to get a fixed end or closed end second mortgage, which means, yep, it's only going to be amortized over a 10 or 15 years, maybe 20, maybe a 20-year amortization on a closed-end second mortgage. Oh, my God, my payment is going to be that high versus a HELOC. See what you're doing? You're teasing yourself. Now, if we came out with a teaser mortgage, man, you would light the mortgage industry on fire with that. Oh, we're going to give you a 3% mortgage for the first 3 years, and then it's going to go to 9%. You'd be marching on DC today. But guess what happens in this example? The HELOC does that. It's teasing you. Hey, interest-only payment. Your payment's just low. It's down here, right? Second mortgage, I ain't paying that per month. That's the exact same thing that we're talking about. A wise person would take a fixed-end second mortgage. Yep, the rate might be higher. It's going to be amortized over 20, but guess what? You're not going to get caught up in an adjustable rate mortgage. You're going to be paying into the principal each month. The balance will actually go down. You're not going to get caught up in the frenzy of it all. That happened last time. Now, there's also going to be people that say, well, wait a minute, Eric. I've done a HELOC, and I'm responsible with a HELOC. And here, how can you be responsible with a HELOC? Here's how. Sorry, I probably should have put this in at the front part of the show. My apologies. Is if you got a $100,000 HELOC, you don't take $100,000 out. You use it wisely. You maybe take it out, $30,000 out, so their scores don't drop. I know people will do it for their self-employed businesses, and they take it out and put it in, and take it out and put it in, and they're using it wisely. If we're honest, the people that use a HELOC wisely is less than 10%, if we're honest. So I know I'm going to get people to say, well, I've been using it wisely forever. I've done it no problem. My credit scores didn't drop. Yes, because you use it wisely. But there's very few people out there that use a HELOC wisely. With that said, running out of time, went way over today. Hope it was informational. Friday morning coffee with your mortgage man, Eric. See ya.